Health and fitness are not the same thing. But over the years, I've seen a lot of people confuse fitness for health. But you can be very healthy and not be particularly fit. And you can be quite fit and not be particularly healthy. And I'll explain all of that here today. Hi there, I'm Dr. Stephen Wangen, the founder and medical director of the IBS Treatment Center. I've spent a lot of my life thinking about and working on my own health and fitness and witnessing other people's health and fitness. So let's talk about these so that we can all achieve better health and achieve better fitness. And I'll share some of my personal experiences with each of these issues. Webster defines health as the condition of being of sound body and sound mind and spirit. Now, that's incredibly comprehensive, right? And we could talk for weeks about what that really means. But I do like the word sound. And notice that it doesn't say anything about being physically fit. However, even Webster confuses health and fitness because Webster states that these are synonyms. And they are definitely not synonyms. Physical fitness is about your ability to run or to bike or to swim or to lift weights, right? And et cetera, et cetera. It's about how fast you can go or how far you can go or how much weight you can lift or how many times you can lift that, right? Or we could go on with fitness ideas. Now, although there's some overlap between the two, you can be very healthy and not be particularly fit. And I know people who have, for example, who have amazing diets and take great care of their body and their mind, but they don't exercise. And I wouldn't call them athletes. They're very healthy and their fitness is decent, but only within the context of people who are neither fit nor healthy. However, healthy people often are also very fit. And that may be why there's a lot of confusion between the two, right? Because we tend to see them in the same person. But just because someone is fit doesn't necessarily mean that they are healthy. So let me give you an example of that, a personal example. Growing up, and even now to this day, I've always been very athletic and very fit. But when I was a teenager, so I swam and I ran and I biked and I played football and basketball, and I was super active every day, right? I never stopped moving. I was always being an athlete. And everyone, including my doctors, thought that I was extremely healthy. Right? I'd go in and I go, oh my gosh, you're just so young and fit and healthy. And yet I wasn't healthy. I had cystic acne, I had chronic diarrhea, I had abdominal pain, I had terrible gas, I was exhausted all the time, not because I was over athletic, I just couldn't recover. I could sleep forever. My head was in a fog all the time. And I could fall asleep anywhere at any time if I was given the opportunity. And then when I did sleep, I'd have nightmares. And when I was awake, I had to fight to stay awake just throughout the whole day. And then weird stuff would happen, like my hands and my feet would swell up at just random times for seemingly no reason. And that would totally affect my sense of touch. I couldn't dribble basketballs and stuff when that would happen. I would get joint pain. Even in like my knuckles, like arthritis felt really weird. It was extremely painful and come and go. None of that is healthy. None of it. That's not health. That's not how we define, certainly not how I define good health. And my doctors were no help at all because they just saw me as somebody who was young and fit. So although many people, including many doctors, would say that a lot of that is a normal part of being a teenager, I completely disagree. It doesn't have to be that way. And we know that because there are a lot of people, including a lot of teenagers, who are not that way. Now, if I knew then that I had a problem with gluten and dairy and a candida overgrowth, I wouldn't have had all of those problems. But it took me another 20 years or longer to figure those things out. So I was extremely fit, at least by most standards, but in reality, my fitness was also being impacted, significantly impacted, because I wasn't getting good nutrition. And I wasn't getting good nutrition because I wasn't absorbing the things that I was eating because of my digestive problems. And I was underweight. But most people interpreted that as being incredibly fit. So hopefully that gives you a better idea about the difference between health and fitness. Now, fitness is a stress test, right? Basically, we stress our body in ways, in physical ways to test it, to test our ability, our endurance, or our strength, or what have you. Health is about what we consume. And we consume things either orally or through our other senses. And it's what we expose ourselves to. It's everything that we eat. It's every chemical that we ingest, or chemical that we put on our skin, or that we breathe into our lungs. And it's all of those things, as well as our ability to deal with these psychological and emotional stresses in life. All of those things directly affect our health. Now, what about weight? Because I haven't talked about weight, right? We haven't mentioned weight. Many people confuse weight as the defining issue in both health and in fitness. It's as if your weight is the thing. If you're overweight, then you're not healthy. If you have a normal weight, then you are healthy. And that's not the case. I've seen lots and lots of people who have a normal, really good weight who have terrible health. And so it's an important issue, but there's a lot more to health than weight. Now, of course, being overweight can cause a lot of problems. We know that, right? We know it can cause high blood pressure and joint pains and reflux, and the list goes on and on. But you can be overweight and be quite fit. Now, in fact, overweight people are, for this example, right, they're moving a lot of weight around all the time. So if you're going to do that, if you're carrying a lot more weight than everybody else, then you've got to be stronger than the average person to do that. So consider that for a moment, right? And I've also seen a lot of people who are overweight who are doing things like, for example, century rides on their bike. When I go out I like to bike and do those kinds of rides. So I know that they're fit, right? We know they're fit because they're riding 100 miles. So that's a long ways. You got to be fit to ride that, even though they're overweight. And remember my story about being underweight, right? About being thin. That didn't mean that I was healthy. So weight plays a role in all of these things, but it's not the defining factor in health or fitness. So don't let yourself get misled by that, because our culture has really focused a lot on weight and has taught us that is the thing that defines health or fitness, and it's really not. It's just one factor. Now, related to all of this is this idea that exercise is kind of the thing that can get you off the hook, right? If you exercise enough, you can do whatever you want, maybe with your diet. And unfortunately, it does not mean that you can eat anything and still be healthy. Now, that might be some idea, maybe that's an old idea that my generation had, and maybe kids are smarter now, or maybe everybody's smarter now. But in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of people try to counteract a poor diet with more exercise. And that might counter the weight or the fitness issues, but you can't escape the health consequences of a poor diet by exercising more. They're still going to catch up with you. So there's diet's still super important. If you're just going to eat candy bars all the time, but you think I'm just going to exercise and burn all that off, well, that's going to do is impact your weight. Your health is still going to have a really negative impact from that. All right, I know I covered a lot. There's a lot of stuff, and it all really kind of demands a lot more attention, a lot more time. But I hope that at least this introduction got you thinking about health and fitness in a different way. They are two different issues, even though there's some overlap between the two, and they are related to each other. I'd love to hear your stories below, and if you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more thought-provoking videos. And if you need help solving a digestive problem, we work with people all over the United States and the world, and would love to help you too. Thanks for watching, and have a healthy and fit day.